YouTube looks steady. We have 5
Steady.
concurrent viewers. We're going live with this new live control room with YouTube, and it looks like we're good to go. Hey, this is Darrell as a service. You're with the 365 Message Center. You plan for change, prevent or fix, and stay informed. I've been practicing, Daniel.
Good job.
Let's roll the intro. Well, good
Hello,
now to
everyone.
you. Good now to you. How are you, Daniel? You sound like you're clearing your throat a little and not well.
I have something in my throat. It's maybe a little bit of illness.
Ah,
So,
it's easier to happen to us when we're working hard and
yeah.
pushing it. Oh, hello, Jamie. So we've got a good show for you today, and
Mhm,
it's gonna be interesting, as you can tell from our headline of the episode. We know that a lot has been discussed this week.
mhm.
Um, you ready for it, Daniel?
Yeah, sure. Let's do it.
All right, let's get into it. Um, and look, before we get into it, thank you for those who have been
Okay.
joining us via the podcast as well. We've been seeing an increase in the listening ever since we went live. So good to hear that. If you're happy with how we're going and you've got any feedback, drop in some comments, give us a rating. It's always helpful to let us know how we're
Yes,
doing.
please.
Um, Starting with, whoops, not that. Our first message of the week, which actually came out. It was actually during our episode, wasn't it? It came shortly after the episode that we ran last week.
Yes, it was actually within an hour or so, I think, of
Yeah.
the episode last week.
So we've had a good full week to talk about the
Yes.
announcing of self-services purchase capabilities for Power Platform products. Um, yeah,
Yes.
MC 193609, and probably about the same number of conversation threads going on around the world about this announcement. What's the
Yes.
gist of the announcement here, Daniel?
Well, I think first of all, we need to kind of define some of the things that are being said here, right? So it's talking about the Power Platform, right?
Hmm.
So what is that? The Power Platform is um, Power BI, Microsoft Power BI, Microsoft Flow, and Power Apps. That's what's considered the Power Platform, along with you could probably throw in CDS in there, but so that's what we're talking about. So this self-service purchase capability um, is about allowing your users to purchase licenses for those products. So for those 3 products in your tenant without you doing anything.
Mm.
And not only
Hmm.
is it not you doing anything, it's you can't do anything about it.
Right. Well, first of all,
Yep.
why would we need a license? What's out of the box
Well,
if I have it turned on in my tenant?
yeah. So if you have an Office 365 like an E3 or an E5, um, an E1, so those you have the capabilities of using Microsoft Flow, for instance, to interact with your Office 365 data. But if you want to use a connector to connect to some other cloud or your on-prem data, you're going to have to buy an additional license to do that. If for Power BI, if you're wanting to collaborate with other users and you only have an E3, then you can use PowerBI.com. But once I say, hey, I want to upload a report and then share that report in the Power BI service
Hmm.
with someone else in my company, then I'm going to have a pro license, a Power BI pro license, and they are too, to be able to view that content. Anytime
Hmm.
sharing is happening, everyone who's shared with has to have a elevated license.
Yeah.
So if I'm doing those kind of things and I say, hey, I need those things to happen, Microsoft is going to enable for your users to be able to elevate their license themselves.
And look, I hear, or at least I read, that customers are asking for this, and this is why we have allowed this ability. That, sure, I've heard some discussions where IT pros are waiting for their slow internal engine of licensing and approvals to allow people to have a license so they can get on with citizen developments and creating solutions for themselves. But as I'm thinking about this, and I think Jamie's got a similar question here too, who's paying for this license? What happens here?
Yep. Yeah, so when your user goes in and tries to, and is going to promote their license, so buy an additional license, they are paying for it. So the only payment method right now that is accepted is a credit card. So most likely what's going to happen is the company is going to pay for it, right? At least the user would think so. They would use a company credit card, or they're going to pay for it on their own credit card and expense it.
Yeah, because does it make actually any sense for me, because it's a work thing? Maybe I might do something and create a little program or something in the Power Platform to make my job easier and me productive. But in most cases, people are creating this for work purposes.
Most certainly, they're not using this they're not using these products typically for anything other than trying to do their job better. Okay, so I think we've covered what it is and why they're doing it, right? Let's talk about the way I see it, if you're okay with that, Darrell.
Yeah. So yes, go ahead.
So this talks about why they're doing it, and there's a link at the bottom of this that takes you to a frequently asked questions that Microsoft has developed.
Well, they had to add that, didn't they?
They did. They've edited this one, and they added that because there's so many people asking questions about this. But like you said before, they've done this in response to what they say. They've done this in response to customer feedback and requests. And really what this is doing is saying, I'm going to remove IT from the conversation. I go in and set up my tenant, provision my users, assign licenses, and say, give them some training, help them with their adoption through other activities, including training, but other activities, and say, go users, go, let me know if you need anything. And here's, and then they come back and they say, hey, I need something. Or they don't. They say, hey, I need something, and they don't come to you and they say, I just need a Power BI Pro license now because I'm going to share. I want to share. So they go ahead and they can't get that license. They have to come to you for it. So Microsoft is providing a way for them to circumvent. Yes, I'm using that word because they're circumventing your management of your tenant and circumventing your policies. Basically, what if, in that case, a user comes and says, I need an additional Power BI Pro license because I want to share within the company. Well, what if that sharing is already covered because we have premium capacity? But the user says, no, I need a Pro license because Joe Schmo told me I need a Pro license to share. So I'm going to go ahead and buy a Pro license. No, you don't. Or maybe maybe we have someone who creates the reports and shares it with the organization. You're not the person that should be doing that. Everyone has read. They don't need Pro. You don't need Pro because you're not a report creator. That's not your role. We don't need you to be doing that. Well, now.
But I want to be a report creator.
Yeah, good for you. You haven't had the training. Are you modeling your data correctly? We don't even know if the reports that you're going to create are going to be good reports, and it could be telling the wrong data story. So what's going to happen is I'm going to sign up for this Power BI Pro license, and then I'm going to expense it, right? I'm going to say, hey, I've signed up for this. Now I need you to pay for it. And if the company pays for it, fine. If they don't, then the admin is going to have to then go and figure out how to clean this up. And that's where it's going to be tricky, the whole cleanup process. And the frequently asked questions tried to address that a little bit, but I think it's going to be a mess. It is The problem I have with this, Darrell, the problem I have with this is not a feature. This is a function. And there's a difference there for me. A feature is something you can turn on and off. A function is something that is required and you have no choice. This is the way it functions. And Microsoft the Power Platform team is forcing this onto us. Basically, there is no way to turn this off. There's no way you can say, no, I don't want that. Maybe I don't have governance set up. And governance is just rules and a handshake saying, yes, I'm going to follow this, right? That's all governance is. Yeah. But maybe I don't have governance set up. Maybe I don't want my people doing this until they're trained. Well, too bad.
Yeah, well, this sort of extending past the licensing question and giving people access to the features within Power BI and the Power Platform and Flow and PowerApps, it actually does get into. It actually puts more onus on IT to secure their data correctly, because one of the concerns is I've got this connector now. I can connect to business data, and I can then connect it to anything that I need out to a third-party system to do what I need it to do. And the question comes back to there is, well, if they have access to that data, which you have given them, and they're using that connector, maybe the data needs to be secured in a certain way to prevent that kind of extension, if that's the goal, to govern the data.
Yeah, and I think I think there's many use cases where this is great. We don't have time to go through all of the use cases where this is great. Yes, there's organizations that will love this. The problem is there's a lot of people who don't love this at all. There was a user voice created.
Oh, yeah, let's have a look at that.
On the Office 365 user voice, Veronique Palmer.
Yep.
Yeah. Sorry, calling you Veronica. Sorry about that. The ability to block self-service purchase capabilities for Power Platform products. That was created on 5 days ago. It is already over 2,600 votes. The first 2 days, it was over 1,000 votes. I mean, I've never seen a user voice go that quickly. And the point here is, I don't want to belabor the point, but the point is, there's a lot of people who are not happy about this at all. The shoving it down our throat, saying you will allow all of your users to sign up for any license they want. And I say that, and people go, no, this is Power Platform. For now. If you go and look at the frequently asked questions, it actually says the language is... I don't know if you can bring it up or if I'm going to...
Yeah, no, bring it up.
No, so the language is... Will self-service purchase be enabled for services beyond the Power Platform products? Answer, at this time. And those are the key 3 words. The Power Platform family of products are the only services being offered through. If this is successful, and what's success? I would hope sentiment has something to do with it. So if it makes too many people mad, maybe that's makes it unsuccessful. But the other part of success, Microsoft is a business. If they get more subscriptions, and subscriptions see a spike, I would think they would think that's successful. So therefore, if this is successful, I would not be surprised this going to other products. Now, I'm not saying I've not heard anything about that. I'm just saying I wouldn't be surprised. And
well, they had to clarify it in the FAQ because the original message did say similar kind of language.
Yeah, and it's the yes, I agree. There's another point I wanted to make, and that is in the first sentence of under the first question, it says, what changes did they announce? There's the word most there. That's not in the post, but is in the frequently asked questions. This brings a lot of questions to me about what do you mean most commercial cloud customers? Are there commercial cloud customers that are not going to get this? I don't know. I mean, that's my first question.
Well, it's been rolled out to the US too to start with, so that
It
really
is.
shows a testing of the market, and so the rest
It
of the
is.
world will look on and see what's going
Yep.
to happen
It is.
here.
It is not rolling out for government, for education, um, and nonprofit.
Mm.
But again, that whole most commercial cloud customers is different than government, nonprofit, and education. Anyway, um, and I just find this, frankly, a hard pill to swallow. Um, I will say, I will not be surprised if they don't back down. We've seen a
Mm.
lot of things that Microsoft has done and made decisions where they said, you know what, maybe we did mess this up. Let's back it out. Let's fix it, whatever we're doing, and then roll it back. I really, I would not be surprised if this just moves forward and there is no stopping it. Now again, I don't know anything other than that. I'm just saying I would not be surprised. And what is it stopping it? So Power BI will be available November 19th for your users to start purchasing Power BI willy-nilly. And then December 4th for PowerApps and Flow. And all those licensing changes with PowerApps and Flow that we talked about earlier this year and around the summertime. Well, your users are going to be experts at it because they're going to navigate all their licensing requirements because they're going to go out and purchase a bunch of them.
Mm.
Sorry, I took a lot of time there. Sorry about that. But
Now,
I
as you
think
can
this is a
tell, it is
huge one
definitely.
that everybody's got to be aware of.
Yeah.
This is one of those, and we have these every once in a while, right, Darrell, where we go,
Yeah.
okay, everybody, you need to stop what you're doing and you need to focus on this because this is coming. And as of right now, it's coming whether you want it or not. There's no way to turn it off. You're going to need to put in some governance plans in. I saw one suggestion that said, just tell your users if they buy a license, they're fired. Well, that's one way of doing it. I'm not saying you should do it that way, but that's you need a governance plan right now and get it approved and get it implemented and communicated before this kicks in.
Yeah. For those also joining us live, having problems with YouTube again. Yeah, that's a whole other show if it would go live.
Yeah.
Yeah, some changes happening there with YouTube. But we've got this recorded, so we will upload the file for others to consume later. Anyway, let's keep moving along, because that's the first one, and we've spent a good 12, 15 minutes on it.
I already apologized.
Yeah.
Man.
No, but it is a big one, because it actually hits at the heart of change management and whether or not we can do anything as admins. So yeah, we've got activity-based teams renewal. Now, with creating a lot of teams, there is a way to govern and to tidy things up afterwards, and it's based on activity that if you have enabled this policy, then you can have these teams wrap themselves up after a certain period of inactivity. This message is MC193626. And there has been some intelligence added so that it's going to look to see whether people have accessed the channel, they've accessed and add some activity in SharePoint in the background or the associated Office 365 group. So this is good news because it means that there is less need for you to intentionally trigger and say, actually, I do want to keep this team. I don't have to respond to a message. You simply need to go in and use it, and that's enough to signal that.
This is a bit of automation, automatically taking care of it and not have to manually manage. So I like this.
Yep, definitely. Moving along to just a quick one on Outlook Mobile, rolling out support for SMIME. So, yeah, again, increasing that security and upgrading it. We've seen this across a number of different products lately too, with SHA2 standard being rolled out. So good to see this being brought into Outlook Mobile. And it seems like Outlook Mobile is the sponsor for this week's show, because there's a few things that are happening in the Outlook Mobile world, in fact, the Outlook world.
Yeah, make sure we mentioned that one is MC193642. And then the next one, Darrell, is MC193643, which is the Outlook Mobile rolling out Microsoft Information Protection Sensitivity Labeling and is going GA.
Yeah, no, this is. I almost want to loop it back and say, now this is something that requires an additional license. Is this something that if I'm a concerned citizen of my own data that I might want to apply for that? No, never mind. Let's just stop right there. Yeah. You do require an E5. You'll need admins to set up the various different labels and things. But this will provide a predefined label that you can add to email, which I would say is going to be like something like highly sensitive. If you don't have a lot more choice than that, that's one of the more popular ones you'd want to apply to a message. Don't send this beyond our internal discussions, would be the kind of label you want to use.
Right.
This next one is really just a rejiggle of the admin center. Yeah. Updated features for rejiggle. Yeah. Like, actually, if you have a look at the picture that goes along with it, it's like, I am cutting this here and I am pasting this here and joining these things together. This is no longer a thing. They're all together now. So it is MC 193644. You don't get any clue as to what it is in the title.
The subject. Yeah, no kidding.
Feature is services. But they're cutting and pasting together the services and add-ins, the security and privacy and organization profile onto a single page. So good for you to know, admins, if you are looking for it across different pages, then you'll find them all together on one page, maybe just called services. It's a good clue.
Where do you get that clue, Darrell?
Well, it could be in the title. Yeah. Back to Outlook. If you've getting a lot of messages, getting a lot of meeting invites and the like, and you like to use Outlook on the web, then you can RSVP to your meeting invites without even reading the message. How about that? MC
Who reads email anyway?
749. Well, I get invited to a few meetings a week. How about you?
Yeah, quite a few.
Yeah. So this could be useful, but what I was thinking of is, like, if you're into good meeting practice, you're going to put in your agenda, you're going to put in various other details. What this enables us to do is, I'll RSVP and then I'll read the detail later. What have I just agreed to? Oh, yeah, I'll come along to that.
Yep. Well, and I think, it's basically, if you scroll down a little bit, I think it's for those watching live here, it's basic when you're showing the preview in Outlook on the web, you can click on RSVP and just say, yes, I'll be there. But remember, this is Outlook on the web, so I'm thinking, we're going to be able to see the message, maybe, on the other pane if we click on it. It's just that the RSVP is right there. Yeah. But even if we're not, you don't have to use this for every message. You can actually open it up and read it before you accept it. I think this is for, hey, Darrell, send me a meeting invite for us to talk about whatever, and so we can get on the calendars. You send it to me. I already know what it's going to be and what it's about, so I'll just click RSVP and go. That's kind of what I was thinking when I was reading this. Is for me, so you just apply it to how you're going to use it. For me, it really will be those quick. We've already talked about this, or I know exactly what this is. Yes, of course I'll accept. I don't know.
Definitely. Back onto sensitivity labeling. Outlook on the web is allowing us to do the same. That's MC 193997. Again, automatic sensitivity labeling. It is going to give you, if you can see from that screenshot and just describing it to the podcast people, we do have those not pop-up messages. What are they called? Like when the bar that goes along the top of our email message to say when someone is
Yep.
maybe out of the office or out of work.
Right.
And so you've got
Tooltip?
that tooltip. That's what I was looking for. So it's
Good.
yet another tooltip where you can click on and change that sensitivity to whatever label has been chosen. So that's rolling out to targeted customers early November. So that's not far away and should be available for everyone by end of December.
Wonderful.
Yeah, now I guess getting into another message that has generated a bit of discussion. I remember when it came out, Jamie Laporte had started a good, interesting thread there about channel cross-posting in Microsoft Teams, MC 194015. What is this for, Daniel? If I'm trying to get your attention, I will mention you.
Yes.
So surely you'll get a message to or at least an activity feed to say, hey, Darrell said something to you. But what if I'm trying to talk to a wider group, and is it enough for me to mention the channel or the team?
Well, I think this basically what this is for is saying I need to communicate with people in multiple channels. And instead of going to each one of those channels and posting the same message, I can cross post in one message. I can create the message and send it, to all of those, the channels I select. I think this came out of really one of those, hey, people are doing this, and so let's make it easier and flow a little better with communication of trying to, bring everyone together. In that, people were going, well, there's 3 channels that have to do, or maybe I've got a team for for me as a consultant, maybe I have a team for a client, and I've got 10 projects in there, and I need to send a message to 3 of those projects that have to do with the intranet or something. And so I need to post that, and I'm going to post it to all 3 channels. How do you do that? You have to manually do that unless you do this cross-posting.
Yeah. We've seen this kind of behavior too in Yammer networks, and I'm just thinking of one that you and I are involved in where it's like, oh, I've got to get this message out that everyone needs to come along to this online meeting we do monthly. So I'm going to post it in each of the groups. And because it's an open network, we see multiple activity to say that, this meeting is on. Initially when I saw this, I thought, well, wouldn't the behavior be, you want to drive the behavior that you're posting this kind of message in a team or a channel that is commonly followed by everyone, so that you only have to put it in one place. But yeah, as organizations grow and as they do have multiple teams, it's really hard to drive that behavior because the members of a team, each individual person would have to follow, or rather show, a channel and say, I'm interested in this content. I'm going to set my notifications for that content.
Right.
I've thought, well, okay, you could do this in a staff meeting and say, hey, everyone, we're going to do this now. You've got your laptops open, then do this now. But you can't really reinforce that behavior on behalf of people. So this is where I think the features come from. The need to talk to multiple groups of people in multiple teams and multiple channels, and you can't guarantee that they're following the content in a certain channel.
Right. Yep.
So that is
which could be construed as spam messages.
Could do.
You're spamming, and I think there's room here for abuse, right? Because you could spam a bunch of channels when you don't need to. So I think again we just come back to governance, talk about training, and say here's how we're going to use this and how it's best used, and then enforce it. And when people start doing it wrong, hey, that's not how you should use it, and just go from there.
Yep. I might belong to a number of those channels, and
Yeah.
I'm going to get each of those messages anyway. But at least I got it. Must be important. Finishing off with the last thing, and thank you for the message from our sponsor again today, Outlook Mobile. In Outlook Mobile, actually, you might have noticed this in Outlook on the web, that at the top of your inbox, you might have a message that says, "Oh, this is your next appointment." And so this is what's going to be brought to Outlook Mobile. A "What's Up Next" will appear in Outlook Mobile. This is MC 194163. Gradually rolling out to Outlook iOS late October. So I'll be looking for that this week, I guess.
Yes, you will be. Because, you got a lot of forewarning on this one. So go for it.
Yeah, so published date 27th of October. Coming out 3 days later.
Yes. Well, and this is one of those, this is not allowing your users to just go out and buy whatever license they want. This is
a feature.
This is a feature that is not taking away from, this is a new thing that, it's not kind of like a changing the way you work, although, it may improve the way you work, but so I could see it not taking that long, but it's something that we definitely should ask Mike Ziok about, these announcements that, kind of we have different categories, because it used to be two categories, the way I understood it. Announcements that gave us 30-day notice, and then announcements that gave us 90-day notice. And now we have announcements that give us
3 days notice.
Or less
4 days
notice. Yeah. So anyway, so that's probably something we should ask Mike about on this feature.
Yeah.
So when are we going to be able to do that, Darrell?
Well, we're going to be recording a podcast at Microsoft Ignite next week. Now, we don't have the same access to gear and stuff, so we're going to do our best with what we have. Last year, we were quite spoiled to be able to sit on a nice stage and have cameras that were hovering all over and awesome mic and stuff. But yeah, the highlighted thing for us was being able to talk to Mike Ziok, who's quite an influential person in the. There's a trilogy here. It's not just the message center; it's also the roadmap, and it's also service health dashboard. So
that's right.
The whole picture there for administering change.
So people, I think, really, so we'll be recording an episode. We don't have a place for a large audience this year, unfortunately, but that's okay. So we're still going to enjoy doing the recording. I think the important part that I want to mention is if you see us at Ignite next week, please say hi. And we have some wonderful stickers that I don't have in front of me.
They look something like a thing over your shoulder, right?
Right. Now, we've showed it on the show before. We have some stickers we want to hand out to everyone, so please, yes, it's that right there.
Yeah, I just realized
those that are watching. But it's the logo to the show. But anyway, it's stickers that you can put on your gear. They look really cool. Love them. And please just say hi and say, hey, you got a sticker. Would love to give one to you. So
that's right. Oh, yeah, Dean has a question about the recording. That they are not showing or listing any podcasts on a schedule to go and watch or listen to. So it's literally we're using the facilities there, the access to people, which is great, and we'll record. What Daniel and I hope to do is record it, whack it together, and try and push it out as soon as we can.
Shortly thereafter.
Yeah, maybe a day after, maybe that afternoon. We'll see. Yeah. But thank you all for joining us, and we'll probably set a different live time for next week, because it is going to be a different time that we're actually recording and putting things together. But we'll get that scheduled. So if you are following us, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and you've got the alerts bell ticked or clicked, then you're going to get that alert to say the schedule for that next episode. Thanks
right.
again for everyone tuning in. And yeah, again, sorry for the YouTube bits and pieces. We have recorded it, so we'll put that out there, and I'll come up with something to fix this YouTube business. Bye for now.
Bye-bye, everyone.